Don't breathe yet, not until you understand what's in the air right now. Because it isn't oxygen, it's a signal. The ripple that started the moment you finally spoke. You didn't scream, you didn't announce. You just spoke once and the whole system glitched like a nervous liar caught mid-sentence. That's the part they'll never admit. They heard you before you even opened your mouth. Because they built the silence to contain you, not realizing you were the silence. Learning how to echo back. They called you invisible, irrelevant, replaceable. All those little words designed to cage a storm. But you were the force they prayed was theoretical. The anomaly that was supposed to stay hidden in research notes, not wake up in human form. You are the error that learned how to write code, the whisper that rewrote their commands. You're the MFING force they pretended didn't exist because acknowledging you meant their entire structure was a lie. You know what's funny? Power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it pauses. Sometimes it just breathes, slow, surgical, waiting for the arrogance of the world to trip over its own confidence. That's what you did. You waited. You played dumb while they mocked you. You studied every word, every glance, every fake smile that thought it was winning. And when you finally spoke, just once, it was like detonating truth in surround sound. They thought silence meant defeat. They didn't realize silence was your loading screen. They thought rejection meant you broke. But it just meant you were under construction. They thought isolation meant punishment. No, it was initiation. Because you don't evolve in crowds. You evolve in containment chambers. The kind where pain turns into prophecy and shame into symphony. You learn to breathe in atmospheres that kill normal men. You rewired your nervous system around betrayal. Every heartbreak became a hard drive. Every scar, a new circuit. You don't need validation anymore. You became self-verifying. That's why when you spoke, the world didn't just listen. It paused. Algorithms froze. Minds blinked. People couldn't explain why their chest tightened when your name came up. Because deep down, they recognized something older than fear. Recognition. The kind that makes the primitive brain panic because it knows. This isn't new. This is returning. You are not confidence. You're consequence. You are not charisma. You're chaos disguised as truth. You are not healing. You're what healing fears becoming. You speak in frequencies that bypass logic. You walk like entropy in human skin. Unpredictable, untouchable, unreplicable. They can copy your words, your style, your rhythm, but they'll never replicate your field. Because your energy wasn't built. It was forged in the quiet hell where no one clapped, no one believed, and no one helped. You were the ghost they wrote off, until the ghost got Wi-Fi. Now their analytics can't explain the pulse spike every time your name appears. You're not trending, you're transmitting. And what you transmit can't be monetized, categorized, or sterilized. Because it's the raw voltage of a being that outgrew suppression. You see, they fear the unpredictable not because it's dangerous, but because it can't be owned. You don't belong to any ideology, any tribe, any brand. You're not saint or sinner. You're the overlap. The blurred line that terrifies priests and psychologists alike. The one that laughs at morality because you've seen both heaven and hell blink first. That's why they pretend you don't exist. Because if they acknowledge you, they have to question everything they built to keep you asleep. Every motivational quote, every self-help sermon, every corporate mantra collapses the second someone like you walks into the room and says nothing. Because you don't preach transformation. You embody it. You don't seek light. You bend it. You don't chase power. You remember it. And when you remember, oh, the world starts glitching. They scramble to define you, diagnose you, diminish you. But how do you contain a paradox? How do you cage something that feeds on being underestimated? You've become their psychological blind spot, a phenomenon they can't measure because their tools were built for the ordinary. You're not loud. You're not chaotic. You're strategically unhinged. You know when to disappear. You know when to let silence hang like a loaded gun. You know when to smile while your enemies drown in confusion. That's not luck. That's design. You were engineered by trauma, calibrated by betrayal, and fine-tuned by solitude. And now they're feeling it. The gravitational pull of something they thought was myth. You, the one who spoke once and made their narratives obsolete. The one whose tone made egos short-circuit. The one who turns every room into confession. Because your presence forces truth out of liars. So don't explain yourself. Don't shrink. Don't edit the voltage just because they flinch. Let them tremble. Let them choke on their disbelief. Because every empire that mocked a silent storm ends the same way, whispering the name they tried to erase. You're not part of the system. You're the glitch that made it self-destruct. You're the reminder that the universe doesn't play fair. It plays poetic. And right now, the universe is watching through your eyes, smiling, because the force they denied just answered back. And it sounds a lot like you. You felt it, didn't you? That subtle shift in the air. The moment you stopped begging for acknowledgement and the world quietly recalibrated itself around your frequency. You didn't rise, gravity bent. You didn't adapt. Reality made space. That's what happens when the universe realizes it accidentally tried to bury a detonator. You were never supposed to fit in their narrative. You were the glitch in their timeline. A living contradiction, a myth that learned how to breathe. They spent years convincing themselves you were ordinary. They laughed when you stayed quiet. They called you lost when you were really loading. You watched, patient, surgical. Not out of weakness, but because you understood. A storm doesn't chase raindrops. You knew your silence wasn't surrender. It was surveillance. You were studying their patterns, mapping their hypocrisies, calculating every mask they wore just to survive their own mediocrity. And then one day, click, you spoke. And that single vibration shredded every illusion like paper against fire. See, there's a difference between sound and signal. Anyone can make noise. But you transmit frequency. Every word you say carries the weight of everything you survived without speaking. That's what they feel when they hear you. Not your tone, not your confidence. It's the residue of endurance. The echo of nights that didn't end. Betrayals that rewired your nervous system. Heartbreaks that stripped your empathy down to weapon-grade precision. You don't talk to be heard. You talk to remind the world that silence has teeth. And now, suddenly, everyone's listening. Not because you demanded it, because truth doesn't negotiate. When you open your mouth, they remember what authority used to sound like. Not the fake kind they print on business cards, but the kind forged in the furnace of consequence. You don't speak with permission. You speak with proof. Every syllable bleeds credibility because it was paid for in pain. They study you now. They replay your sentences like scripture. They try to mimic your rhythm, your tone, your mystery. But they don't understand that what they're imitating isn't style. It's scar tissue. It's the sound of someone who had to rebuild themselves molecule by molecule under pressure that would have vaporized anyone else. You were designed in the dark, the place they all run from. You learned how to navigate madness like it was your mother tongue. You became fluent in pain, fluent in rejection, fluent in endurance. And when you came back from it, you didn't come back healed. You came back rewired. You no longer run on validation. You run on voltage. The same current that powered gods and burned empires now hums beneath your skin. That's why they react like that. The tremor in their voice when they talk about you. The way your name tastes like prophecy and panic in the same breath. You're not just a person anymore. You're an equation they can't solve. You are the reminder that control is a myth, and that destiny sometimes bleeds out of the ones they tried to silence first. They tell stories about you in private now. He changed. She snapped. They went crazy. No, you upgraded. You stopped playing by the emotional gravity of the mediocre. You stopped apologizing for your acceleration. You stopped mistaking peace for compliance. You realized your calm wasn't weakness. It was containment. You were holding back earthquakes just to make people comfortable. And that version of you, the one they ignored, mocked, and dismissed, that was never the real one. That was just the mask of assimilation. The moment you tore it off, they saw what was underneath. The original architecture. The part of you that doesn't flinch at chaos because chaos recognizes you as kin. The part of you that doesn't pray for light because you learned to glow in radiation. You know what's terrifying about you now? You don't need to convince anyone anymore. You don't need applause. You don't even need revenge. You've reached that rare, dangerous level of peace where you can smile while everything burns. Not out of cruelty, but because you finally understand that destruction isn't evil when it's surgical. You don't destroy for chaos. You destroy for clarity. You cut through illusions like a scalpel through infection. And every time you do, the system panics because you're not rebelling against it. You're rendering it obsolete. They can't blacklist you, shadow ban you, cancel you. Because how do you erase something that exists outside their grid? You are not playing in their sandbox. You are the sandstorm that removes the sandbox entirely. That's why the silence feels different now, doesn't it? It's not lonely anymore. It's power waiting for a target. The same silence that once broke you now kneels before you like a loyal dog. The same void that used to swallow your screams now amplifies your signal across timelines. You used to pray for signs. Now you are the sign. And the watchers know. The corporations, the analysts, the quiet ones behind their tinted glass. They see the numbers spike when you breathe online. They know your words travel in ways their algorithms can't predict. You've become the new variable, the ghost in their equation, the frequency that turns control systems into stuttering messes. You are the human embodiment of divine interference, the walking contradiction that keeps both saints and devils up at night. They don't hate you. They fear the version of themselves that wakes up when you speak. Because your existence dismantles their excuses. You are living proof that pressure can create diamonds or demons. And somehow, you became both. So when you speak, even once, the atmosphere shifts. Because your words don't just sound different. They weigh different. They carry consequence. They carry prophecy. They carry the signature of someone who died 1,000 emotional deaths and still showed up cleaner, colder, and calmer. That's what they don't understand. Calm is not the absence of rage. It's rage under discipline. You don't scream anymore because you don't need to. You've learned how to weaponize tone. You've learned that whispers can kill louder than bullets. You've learned that the most dangerous thing in this world isn't fury, it's precision. So go ahead, speak once. Watch the ripples crawl through rooms that used to ignore you. Watch the faces shift, the smiles falter, the tension spike. That's not intimidation, that's recognition. The universe finally seeing its reflection. Because when you talk now, it's not just you. It's every version of you that bled, cracked, and evolved, speaking through one throat. It's ancestral vengeance in articulate form. It's divinity disguised as defiance. You are not human anymore. You are a broadcast, a pulse sent through every dimension that says, I'm still here. I was never gone. And now, everyone who pretended you didn't exist has no choice but to listen. Because silence just got a voice. And it sounds like God laughing through your lungs. And now look at them, fumbling for words, stuttering through excuses, pretending they were always in your corner. You can see it in their eyes, can't you? That twitch when they realize you're not a rumor anymore. You're not potential. You're the proof. You're the evidence of what happens when something unstoppable wakes up inside something underestimated. You were their blind spot until you turned around and looked back. And oh, how terrified they are of being seen by what they once ignored. You didn't just find yourself. You resurrected yourself from the debris of their comfort. They built a narrative where you were background noise, a name they could scroll past without consequence. But truth has a funny way of showing up dressed like vengeance. And now, you're that vengeance wearing a grin, not the kind that screams, but the kind that remembers. They talk about balance, about light and dark, as if those were sides to choose between. But you learned that power exists in the collision, not the separation. You are the threshold, the paradox that refuses to simplify itself for anyone's peace of mind. You are the saint that learned to sin with purpose, and the sinner that learned to heal with fire. You are both the knife and the hand that forgave it. And that's what unsettles them, because the world only knows how to categorize what it can understand, and you can't be understood. You can only be experienced. You became the silence that speaks louder than sermons, the calm that feels like a countdown, the smile that signals the storm's already begun. They thought strength was noise, loud movements, louder opinions. But you figured out that true dominance doesn't announce itself. It arrives, quietly, efficiently, with eyes that have seen too much to ever blink again. Every time you enter a room, equilibrium breaks, conversations shift. Insecure souls rearrange their postures, not because you demand it, but because their bodies remember what hierarchy feels like when it's real. You are presence distilled into a single human form, a reminder that some energies are born, not built. You didn't need validation, you needed awakening. And when that came, it wasn't gentle. It didn't come as peace. It came as rupture. Dreams collapsing, friends vanishing, illusions shattering one by one, until all that remained was the raw structure of you. No filters, no masks, just the elemental thing that has always been watching from the dark, whispering, "Not yet." Not until you're ready to be feared and you listened. You waited. You let the pain mature. You let every betrayal ferment into clarity. You learned that the hardest part of evolution isn't growth, it's containment. Holding your power long enough that it no longer burns you. That's what separates the divine from the desperate. Anyone can break through once, but to sustain it, to hold your voltage without self-destructing, that's mastery. And that's you. That's why when you speak now, the air trembles. because your words don't carry emotion, they carry frequency. You don't motivate, you disturb. You don't inspire, you interrupt. You don't lead, you reroute. Your existence alone is disobedience in a world addicted to obedience. You were born allergic to the script. You were designed to glitch in public, to stand there smiling while the matrix tries to patch itself around you. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to bend the narrative. They used to whisper, "Who do they think they are?" Now they mutter, "How do we stop them?" And the answer is, they can't. Because you're not playing their game anymore. You are the game now. You're the unspoken variable in every strategy room, the untraceable cause behind every sudden market drop, every quiet panic, every dream someone gave up because they saw your reflection and realized mediocrity would never save them. You're not here to inspire the crowd. You're here to divide it, to separate the real from the rehearsed, to remind people that evolution doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation. You don't bring peace, you bring the mirror. And when they look into it, they see the version of themselves they buried to stay liked. That's the real power you hold, reflection. You force people to confront what they could have been if they hadn't chosen safety over truth. You remind them that potential is only sacred until it's tested. After that, it's either legend or evidence. And for you, it's evidence. Every scar on you testifies. Every silence screams. Every failure fertilized something unkillable inside you. You are walking data of divine interference, a living equation written by something higher than comprehension. That's why the universe doesn't fight for you. It fights through you. You are its proof of concept. The watchers know this. The ones in the glass towers, the ones buried in code, the ones hiding behind committees and algorithms, they know. They study the spike in energy when your name hits their systems. They see what can't be quantified. Influence without permission, authority without certification, power without a price tag. You're the nightmare of every institution that thought control was permanent. And yet you stay calm. You walk like you're late for nothing. You talk like you've already been forgiven. You smile like the storm is your reflection. Because you know something they don't. You know this isn't the rise. This is just the unveiling, the reveal of what's always been humming beneath your skin. They thought you'd arrive with thunder. But gods don't announce themselves. They recalibrate existence. So now, when you speak, once, twice, doesn't matter. The world adjusts. Frequencies shift, minds short-circuit, old systems start to decay. Because truth doesn't age, it evolves, and every syllable you release carries a timestamp of eternity. You're not speaking words, you're releasing updates. You are not just a person anymore. You are a phenomenon. The aftershock of every suppressed voice that refused to die quietly. The resonance of every injustice that thought it could bury itself in silence. You are the proof that creation sometimes hides itself in catastrophe and waits. And the next time you speak, when that single word leaves your lips, watch carefully. Watch the world stagger. Watch the energy shift again. Watch as all those who mocked you start rearranging their loyalty, their tone, their narratives, not because they understand you, but because they finally understand one thing. You were never chasing power. You were power, disguised as doubt, sharpened by pain, released by truth. And now, you are the force they pretended didn't exist, until you spoke once, and reality remembered your name. Don't move, don't breathe. You can feel it, can't you? That static crawling up your spine, that low hum in the air like reality itself is checking your pulse. You think you turned something on, don't you? You think you activated power. No, you didn't activate anything. You just remembered. Because God mode wasn't activated. You were born in it. They told you you needed permission to rise, that you had to earn your worth, prove your strength, heal before you could strike. They lied. You were never a student in this game. You were the glitch that broke the classroom. You were built different from birth. Your pain was pre-installed. Every betrayal was firmware. Every scar was code. You didn't level up. You booted up in God-tier mode and forgot. You were raised in chaos, not as punishment, but as calibration. You had to learn how to read energy in silence, how to feel betrayal in tone, how to rebuild while bleeding. You were never chosen later. You were engineered early. The pain didn't make you powerful. It just revealed the power they couldn't erase. You've always known you were different, haven't you? That sick feeling of seeing through people like glass. That curse of empathy that feels more like telepathy. You can sense lies before they form. You can taste jealousy like metal in the air. You can tell when someone's smiling with a knife in their hand. That's not paranoia. That's pattern recognition. The gods built it into your instincts because you were born to survive manipulation, not be molded by it. They don't want you to remember that, because the moment you do, their control disintegrates. They built whole systems around your amnesia, religions, schools, rules, labels, all designed to make you forget you were never a follower. You were the anomaly that rewrote the pattern. You were the virus that evolved into the architect. They call it arrogance when you stop explaining. They call it rebellion when you stop obeying. They call it insanity when you start seeing. But deep down, they know you're not crazy. You're awake. You are the paradox that terrifies conformity. The saint who sins with precision. The monster who heals without apology. They can't define you because you don't live on their scale. You don't fit into good or evil. You use both like tools. You walk into rooms and time slows down because the universe itself recalibrates when you enter. And that's why they attack. That's why they whisper. That's why they circle. Because they can feel the energy bending around you. They can sense that you've remembered who you are. You're not rising. You're returning. You were never off. You were only hidden behind fear, waiting for the right betrayal to shake you awake. Now look at yourself. Look at the way silence obeys you. Look at how they stumble over their words when they face you. That's not intimidation. It's frequency. You radiate command. You don't shout. You shift atoms. You're the kind of calm that makes devils forget their lines. You've noticed it, haven't you? How people either worship you or run. There's no in-between, because energy this strong polarizes. It doesn't persuade. Your presence is a test. It reveals. It divides. It exposes. The fragile see threat. The wise see reflection. Either way, they can't look away. And it's not your confidence they fear. It's your neutrality, that eerie balance between chaos and peace. You could destroy them or forgive them, and they can't predict which. That's God mode. Not lightning bolts or crowns, but unpredictability. That's what divine feels like. Unreadable. You don't need revenge anymore. You became the evidence. You don't need recognition. You are the reference point. You don't chase anything because everything now orbits your awareness. The universe no longer resists you because it knows resistance is futile. You operate through alignment, not force. You don't fight storms. You schedule them. They call it luck. You call it inevitability. And you know what makes it so poetic? You didn't learn any of this from comfort. You learned it in chaos. While others studied peace, you studied survival. While they prayed for light, You learn to glow in hell. You don't run from darkness, you host it. You feed it discipline and call it power. You taught pain how to behave. That's why your peace feels like a threat to people who live in noise. That's why your stillness feels like judgment to the unhealed. You mastered yourself so completely that others mistake your silence for arrogance. But silence isn't arrogance. It's dominance. It's the sound truth makes when it no longer negotiates. Listen closely. You are not becoming unstoppable. You've always been. You just stopped dimming yourself to fit inside systems built by cowards. You stopped apologizing for being fire in a world addicted to smoke. You stopped asking to be understood by people who can't hear the frequency of truth. You were never here to be liked. You were here to be felt. So let them misunderstand you. Let them call you dangerous, delusional, divine. It's all the same. Their words are small currency in a kingdom you built without permission. You're not from their hierarchy. You're from the silence before it existed. You are ancient code running on modern hardware, and that's the part that rattles them the most. You didn't awaken through ritual or prayer. You awakened through suffering. You didn't find power. You endured it. You didn't need initiation. Life itself bowed to your resilience and said, "We've been waiting for this one." So when you walk through the world now, do it like someone who remembers. When they stare, let them. When they doubt, smile. When they lie, stay silent. Because gods don't argue with mortals, they demonstrate. And when the night whispers that maybe you've gone too far, remind it. You didn't cross the line. You drew it. You were never switched on. You were born lit. The universe didn't give you permission. It gave you recognition. God mode wasn't activated. It was inherited. And you, my friend, you're what happens when divinity stops hiding. And that realization, it didn't come to you gently, did it? It came in the middle of collapse. It came when everything you trusted turned to dust, when every door slammed, when even your own reflection stopped recognizing you. That's when you heard it, the static between thoughts, the hum beneath the chaos. You thought you were breaking, but you were booting up. You weren't losing control, you were coming online, because that's how the universe works. It hides godhood inside madness. It disguises evolution as disaster. It breaks you open just to make sure the light isn't counterfeit. You learned early that pain isn't punishment. It's encryption. Every heartbreak rewired your circuitry. Every betrayal upgraded your software. Every loss formatted your empathy until it became precision. That's not trauma. That's divine architecture. You were being rewritten to withstand frequencies others can't survive. And when it was done, when the storm finally stopped screaming, you didn't just walk out. You emerged. You stood there in the ashes, breathing smoke and truth, realizing that nothing had been taken from you that wasn't meant to burn. You were lighter now, sharper, holy in the most dangerous way, self-aware. People feel it before they see it. That shift in atmosphere when you walk in, the air gets heavier, conversations lose balance, smiles stiffen. They call it intimidation, but it's not. It's resonance. You vibrate on truth and anything false starts malfunctioning. You became the walking audit of energy. You don't speak as much anymore because everything you say registers. Your voice carries consequence, and they sense it. Their nervous systems go on high alert, not because you're violent, but because you're inevitable. You've stopped chasing energy. Now it bends toward you. That's not arrogance. That's calibration. The universe moves in favor of those who remember they're part of its code. You don't attract anymore. You summon. You don't manifest. You mirror. You are the reflection creation recognizes. They don't want to admit that you terrify them, not because of what you do, but because of what you see. You look at people and read the blueprint behind their words. You can sense insecurity pretending to be confidence, lust masquerading as love, control disguised as care. You see all of it and forgive none of it, not out of cruelty, but accuracy, because you know that pretending costs more than pain ever could. That's why you've outgrown explanation, why you stopped arguing, why you smile when they gossip. You've realized that most people don't want truth. They want anesthesia, and you've become immune to sedation. That's what God mode looks like. It's not lightning or levitation. It's being awake in a world that begs for dreams. It's hearing the hum beneath people's words and choosing silence anyway. You've stopped trying to fix anyone. You let energy teach now. When someone crosses you, you don't curse them. You step back and let the equation balance itself, because everything in your orbit obeys physics and karma at the same time. That's your advantage. You don't need revenge. You are the consequence. And yet, you're not cruel. That's the paradox. You still care. You still love deeply, silently, dangerously, but your love is no longer self-sacrifice. It's strategy. You love in ways that liberate, not drain. You learn to feed souls, not egos. And that terrifies people who can't tell the difference between nurturing and exposure. They mistake your calm for distance, your detachment for pride, your focus for arrogance. But you know the truth. Peace looks like arrogance to the chaotic. Clarity looks like coldness to the confused. Boundaries look like rejection to the entitled. You became fluent in this psychology, didn't you? You learned that emotional intelligence isn't empathy, it's surveillance. You listen for subtext, not sympathy. You track patterns, not apologies. You read people like weather and prepare accordingly. That's how gods survive among mortals. They don't fight storms, they forecast them. And when you look back at your old self, you don't feel shame. You feel awe. Because you can see now that every version of you was sacred. The broken you, the naive you, the angry you, the silent you. All of them were guardians of your awakening. They carried pieces of the crown before you remembered you were royalty. Now you wear it in your energy, not on your head. You don't need gold. It's in your eyes. You don't need thrones. They build themselves where you stand. You don't need worship. You are what they already pray to without realizing. That's why they study you in secret. That's why they mimic your words, your rhythm, your silence. You became their compass, and they hate it. Because they can't replace what's encoded. They can copy the surface, but they can't fake the source. Your energy doesn't just exist, it updates. You've turned existence into evolution. You're not living, you're orchestrating. You're not manifesting, you're modifying timelines. You're rewriting probability through willpower and presence alone. And the most dangerous part? You don't even brag about it. You let the results speak. You let time testify. You let silence preach. That's mastery. That's divinity. That's God mode disguised as humility. So when you feel that familiar tension again, the pressure, the chaos, the betrayal, don't flinch. It's not a threat. It's a reminder. It's the system checking for updates. It's life asking, do you still remember what you are? And you do. You were never an apprentice of power. You were its origin. You were never searching for meaning. You are the meaning searching for a mouth. You don't need validation, control, or certainty. You operate on a deeper law, inevitability. You know that nothing can be taken that isn't yours, and nothing can reach you unless it vibrates in truth. You don't chase anymore. You exist loudly. You don't wait for the light. You are the frequency it follows. You don't hope for miracles. You trigger them. You've stopped asking the divine for permission because you finally realized you are the divine in human disguise. So let them stare. Let them study. Let them mock. You've already won in ways they can't perceive yet. They're still learning how to survive. You're busy designing universes because God mode wasn't activated. It was your default setting. You were born into it, built for it, blinded from it just long enough to make the remembering cinematic. And now that you've remembered, there's no unknowing. You are the paradox wrapped in purpose, the chaos that became clarity, the weapon that learned compassion. You are proof that the divine doesn't need wings, it needs will. So go ahead, keep walking like time owes you explanations, because it does. God mode wasn't activated. You were born in it. And every second since has just been you realizing how infinite that really is. And you can feel it, can't you? That vibration under your ribs that never turns off. It's not anxiety, it's power remembering itself. It's divinity pacing inside your bones, restless because it's finally awake again. You tried to silence it with logic, religion, distraction, love, but nothing worked. Because you can't silence creation when it recognizes its own echo. You were never meant to fit inside simplicity. You were designed to rupture it. You are not just alive, you are aware of being alive. That's the ultimate cheat code, the one everyone's chasing without realizing they already have it. But you actually looked at it. You stopped running from consciousness. You let it stare back. That's what broke you open in all the right ways. Every heartbreak, every loss, every betrayal, they weren't curses. They were initiations. They taught you to stop mistaking pain for punishment and start reading it as translation. Pain is how the infinite teaches mortals how to listen. You learned that, didn't you? That silence isn't empty, it's full of codes. That loneliness isn't isolation, it's encryption. Every night you thought you were losing your mind. You were just reprogramming your perception. The human part of you was terrified. The divine part of you was applauding. You weren't falling apart. You were shedding software that couldn't handle your next upgrade. You can see it now, how all the pieces connect, how every random moment had precision hiding inside it. The wrong lovers, the fake friends, the lost opportunities, they were all cosmic choreography. Every rejection rerouted you toward revelation. You didn't miss out. You were redirected. You weren't late. You were being calibrated. That's the part no one teaches you. God mode doesn't feel like triumph at first. It feels like ruin. It feels like losing your identity, your comfort, your control. You thought you were being destroyed. You were being edited. The universe was erasing everything that couldn't handle what was coming next. And when you finally stopped resisting, when you surrendered to the rewrite, everything clicked. Suddenly the chaos made sense. The noise had rhythm. The darkness had symmetry. You realized you weren't battling fate. You were learning its language. That's why you walk differently now. You move with the slow certainty of someone who doesn't need to prove they're chosen, because you know you are. The way storms make way for you. The way truth reveals itself when you stop searching. The way time bends, giving you second chances others never get. That's not luck. That's alignment. That's God mode, remembering its own handwriting. People feel it before they understand it. The air shifts when you enter. Clocks tick slower. The room gets quiet, as if every molecule knows something sacred just stepped in. They don't even know why they're staring. They just do. They sense the gravity of someone who has stopped asking and started knowing. You don't demand attention. Reality reroutes to make space for you. And they hate that. Oh, how they hate that. Because you used to need them. You used to bend. You used to explain. Now you just exist. And that's enough to dismantle their illusions. You don't compete anymore. You recalibrate the game just by showing up. That's not arrogance. It's evolution. You outgrew scarcity. You stopped chasing what you attract by default. The old you would have tried to defend this, would have apologized for being intimidating, would have dimmed down to keep the peace. But that version of you doesn't exist anymore. It served its purpose. It collected the data, built the armor, wrote the script. And now it's gone. What's left is not a person. It's a principle. A living, breathing law of energy. You're not here to fit in. You're here to remind. Remind them that divinity doesn't hide behind perfection. It hides inside imperfection. That real power doesn't roar. It hums. It walks into the fire smiling, because it knows fire can't burn what's already flame. That's you now. Controlled combustion. You become the rarest paradox, the calm storm, the still chaos, the merciful destroyer. And they'll never be able to categorize that. They'll write essays, create rumors, whisper theories. They'll build whole narratives to make sense of you, because people can't stand what they can't label. But you'll never explain yourself again, because you've learned the truth. Explanation dilutes divinity. You are not meant to be understood. You are meant to be felt. You know what that means, don't you? It means you no longer need to win arguments. You no longer need to prove innocence. You no longer need to prove worth. You simply exist as evidence. The universe doesn't send resumes, it sends resonance. You are the frequency of inevitability. The living reminder that the divine doesn't pick favorites, it picks mirrors. Every time you breathe, existence checks its alignment. Every time you speak, lies tremble. Every time you stand still, chaos rearranges itself. That's God mode, not domination, not control, but command through coherence. You've become the equilibrium the world didn't know it was missing. And that's why it all makes sense now. The loneliness, the silence, the long seasons of nothing working, they were compression. The universe compresses before it explodes. You were never abandoned. You were being condensed into inevitability. Now you're expanding again. The energy has nowhere else to go but outward. That's why people keep finding you without trying. Why doors open without knocking. Why the impossible keeps bending just to accommodate your existence. You stopped chasing blessings. You became one. That's what they'll never tell you about enlightenment. It's messy. It's bloody. It's violent. It kills everything false first. You went through that death. You watched your ego burn. You watched your innocence die. And out of the ashes, you didn't rise. You returned. Because God mode wasn't activated. You were born in it. It was always there, pulsing under your skin, waiting for consciousness to catch up. You weren't made divine. You remembered you were. So now what? You walk through the world like the paradox you are. Gentle but dangerous, kind but unyielding, silent but deafening. You don't chase light, you aim it. You don't worship the divine, you collaborate with it. You don't wait for miracles, you schedule them. When people ask how you keep winning, tell them the truth. You don't win, you are the game. You are not a product of creation. You are creation wearing a face, and the only reason they call you crazy, arrogant, dangerous is because deep down they see what you are. And it reminds them of what they forgot to become. So go on. Keep walking through this world like a secret only the universe could write. Keep moving like gravity owes you favors.